Hi again, everyone. I'm Mike Lucas from UWBadgers.com, and welcome to the Big Ten Media Days from Chicago. The Badgers are represented by three players here, all fifth-year seniors: Aaron Henry, Patrick Buttram, and Nick Toon. Another fifth-year senior is in Madison, still rehabbing from a knee injury, and that would be Josh Oglesby. Bret Bielema was asked about Oglesby, and he provided this update.
He came in early on. If you remember, when he first started playing, did pretty well. And I think Josh is such a kid. He's a pleaser. You guys know that. I mean, he wants to please everybody. He's a gentle giant, and I think he's also probably learned he needs to play with a little more anger. I think he's talked about that, and I just think the mental attitude and the approach he's had have really been positive, and I think it's going to be a great season for him.
Even though Russell Wilson isn't here for media days, there's still plenty of buzz about the transfer from North Carolina State. Bret Bielema talked about his orientation to Badger football.
Aaron Henry and Russell are a lot alike. They're very faith-oriented, so I think that bond drew them together on the official visit, and they've continued to build a relationship. And the thing I appreciated is everybody told me he really didn't say anything. He just showed up and went to work and worked as hard as anybody else to prove he was a valuable member of our team.
Linebacker Chris Borland is coming off an injury. Bret Bielema was asked, is there any chance that Borland might be tentative?
Yeah, I don't think the word tentative will ever describe Borland, but I do and have had conversations with him about, some of the things that, I think puts himself at risk at points, and you're going to talk to him and discuss things with him. I've actually had a conversation with his pops about it too, about the way he plays. I know there is probably nobody in our program that is more excited to get back and play. We're going to put him in the middle. He came in he had a play drawn up the other day. I was just in my office, and you want to know what the thought was there, and because he hasn't played it yet. And the other thing, the Mike linebacker is traditionally your voice. He's the exact opposite of the quarterback on offense. The middle linebacker is the guy that you hopefully has all the right calls and all the right communication skills.
How many true freshmen might play this year for the Badgers? Bielema had a number in mind.
Everybody has been telling me about the way this freshman class works, and meantime, I'm not really going to put any parameters out there. I do think we'll probably have, anywhere from 4 to 8 kids that might help us. I think there's a very good chance of an offensive lineman. I think a running back. Melvin has been very, very, and I know for you guys that followed the game, he tweaked his ankle a little bit, but he's cleared this week and should be good to go. And then some of the wide receivers have been, I think, impressive to some of the upperclassmen. So,
given the turnover on the UW coaching staff, Bielema sounds excited about the growing chemistry.
Obviously, I didn't know Hux, but I became very familiar quickly with what he's all about. But I've known Damani for a long time. I've known Thomas for a long time. So it's fun to be around them. I think their culture they've created with our kids has been very, very good. But bottom line, I haven't seen any of them on game day, and that's the part, including my defensive coordinators, Chris and Charlie, to be in those roles. It's just a fun time for me.
The coaches in Chicago have talked about the prospect of a 9-game league schedule. What are Bret's thoughts on that?
I think we have a game that's pretty good right now. I understand. I get it. It's a cost-effective measure, because otherwise you're buying another opponent. But I also think in our league it's going to greatly change the amount of bowl-eligible teams, and you potentially, could have a championship or a national championship type team that's got to do one more game in the conference. So you naturally are going to decrease the number of wins in your league because you're playing each other.
A lot of the success last year was due in part to the senior class. Can this year's senior class have the same impact?
The part that I think is becoming better for us is I really do know these kids now. I've been with them, I've recruited them, and you've seen how they've handled and reacted to adversity. To me, that's a bigger indicator than how they handle success. I want to know how they're going to do when things are going tough, and I'm excited about this group.
This has been a coming out party for Husker Nation, and Bret was asked to put the Big Ten opener between Nebraska and Wisconsin into perspective.
Just simply, it's a sign of respect. There's a reason that the networks came with us with the idea to do that. I think there's a reason the Big Ten Conference scheduled that. To me, that was the biggest sign of respect. You can tell me all you want. I know a computer didn't spit that out. I know that somebody planned that matchup. And I think the fact that Coach Alvarez was involved with it and the former player, I think that's a big part of it. So, and there's 2 huge fan bases. 2 great legendary. And you think about it, over the course of time, there's probably a lot alike. Obviously Nebraska's had a lot of more years of having success, but it's built on the same methodologies. I remember 15 years ago hearing Coach Osborne speak at a national coaches convention, and just came out of there awed by what he said. And he's so intelligent, and you can see the way he built that program, and now as AD, what he's doing with it further. There's a lot of similarities, and I think the fan bases, from what I've witnessed, are really going to have a lot of mutual respect.
What are the benefits of a Big Ten championship game? Bret Bielema talked about it.
Our players concentrate on one game at a time, but you would be putting your head in the sand if you didn't make them aware of the fact that, hey, there's a prize at the end of the rainbow. And I've expressed to them, and especially to my staff, the only championship game I was involved with was when I was at Kansas State, and we lost 2 early conference games. But they weren't in our division, and we went out and won our division, got to play in the Big 12 championship game and beat the #1 team in the country, Oklahoma, after having 3 losses. So it's kind of a way to get back in the game even if you lose 1.
I'm Mike Lucas, and that was Thursday's report from the Big Ten Media Days. For the best coverage of this event, stay with UWBadgers.com.